The two regulatory systems responsible for the coordination of our cells, tissues, and organs are the nervous system and the endocrine system. We have already discussed about the nervous system. Today, we will be discussing about the endocrine system. Processes like growth and metabolism are controlled by various chemicals in our body. These chemicals are secreted by glands which do not have any duct or by ductless glands. This system of ductless glands is known as the endocrine system. We have two types of glands in our body, the exocrine glands and the endocrine glands. Let's discuss about the differences between the endocrine gland and exocrine gland. Endocrine glands do not have any duct, hence they are called ductless glands. The chemicals they secrete are known as hormones. Since they do not have any ducts, the hormones are directly secreted in the bloodstream. Since the blood has to carry the hormones to the target organs, the response time is very slow. But the activity or the duration of activity of these hormones is long term, not for a very short period. Now come to exocrine glands. Exocrine glands have ducts. The secretion are known as enzymes. These enzymes are carried to the target organ by the ducts. Hence, the response time is fast, but the duration is short term. It does not have a long term response. Examples of endocrine glands are the pituitary gland, thyroid gland, pancreas, whereas examples of exocrine glands are the salivary glands, the sweat glands, and the mammary glands. As I told you, the secretion of endocrine glands are known as hormones. So let's discuss about the general properties of hormones. Hormones are secreted directly into the blood since endocrine glands are ductless glands. These hormones regulate the different physiological processes in our body. Hormones are secreted in a different place, but the target organs are different. For example, suppose a hormone may be secreted in the brain, but the target organ may be the abdomen. So, the source of production and the source of action is different. The same hormone in different species have the same function. For example, growth hormone in humans regulate the growth in humans, and growth hormone in dogs regulate the growth of dogs. So hormones produced in one species usually show similar influence in another species. Hormones are produced in very small quantities, but they are very active. Hormones are usually proteins. The last one, hormones, if they're produced in excess, that means hyper secretion, or if hormones are produced in less, that is hyposecretion. Both hyper and hyposecretion lead to various diseases. This means that excess production of hormones also leads to diseases, and undersecretion of hormones also leads to diseases. Let's discuss about the various endocrine glands in our body. The first important endocrine gland in our body is the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is located in the hypothalamus region of the brain. It is a very small gland, the size of a pea, but it is also known as the master gland because it controls the functioning of all other endocrine glands. Hence, pituitary gland is also known as the master gland. Let's discuss about the hormones secreted by the pituitary gland. The hormones secreted by the pituitary gland are the growth hormone, the thyroid stimulating hormone, the gonad stimulating hormone, and oxytocin. The growth hormone helps in promoting normal growth in a person. I already told you that less secretion, that is hyposecretion, and excess secretion, that is hypersecretion, both causes diseases in humans. So, if there is hyposecretion, that means less secretion of growth hormone in a child, the child becomes a dwarf, and the condition is known as dwarfism. Similarly, if there is excess secretion or hypersecretion of growth hormone in a child, it causes it leads to a condition known as gigantism. That means the person becomes excessively tall. Now, if there is hypersecretion or excess secretion of this growth hormone in an adult, it leads to a condition known as acromegaly. In this condition, the person not only becomes a giant, his entire facial structure also changes. A very common person, a very famous person who has acromegaly is Kali. We all know who is Kali, a famous wrestler. So he actually suffers from acromegaly. Then the next hormone secreted by the pituitary gland is the thyroid stimulating hormone. I already told you pituitary gland is a master gland and it controls the functioning of all other glands. So this thyroid stimulating hormone TSH controls the functioning of the thyroid gland. Similarly, this gonad stimulating hormone, that is GSH, controls the functioning of the gonads, that is the ovaries and the testes. Oxytocin. Oxytocin, it is released during childbirth in a female. It helps in the contraction of the uterus, and this leads to the birth of the child. The next gland we are going to discuss today is the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland is situated in front of the neck, just below the larynx, that is the voice box. The important hormone secreted by thyroid is the thyroxine. The thyroxine, it regulates the basal metabolism in our body. Now, what do you mean by the term metabolism? The various chemical activities that occur in our body is known as metabolism, and basal metabolism is the various metabolic activities that occur when our body is at rest. We have already discussed that hypo, that is less secretion, and hyper, that is excess secretion of hormones, leads to diseases. So, if there is hyposecretion of thyroxine, it leads to a condition known as simple goiter. Now, what is goiter? Goiter is enlargement of the thyroid gland and it is distinctly visible as a swelling in the neck. Iodine is very important for the functioning of thyroxine gland. So if there is deficiency of iodine, it leads to in our body, it leads to hyposecretion of thyroxine and leads to the condition known as simple goiter. Another common disease in a child due to hyposecretion of thyroxine is known as cretinism. A child with cretinism becomes a dwarf as well as he or she is mentally retarded. Now, if there is hypersecretion, that means excess secretion of thyroxine in a person, it causes another kind of goiter called exophthalmic goiter. From the name itself, exophthalmic, ex meaning coming out or protruding, and ophthalmic meaning eyes. So the person, along with a goiter on his or her neck, has protruding eyes. So today we discussed about the difference between endocrine and exocrine glands, the properties of hormones, and the two endocrine glands, that is pituitary gland and the thyroid gland. Thank you everyone.